Hey, welcome to the Steve Davis Show. Special guest today was Andrew Ealing, athletic director at New Mexico Highlands University. And Andrew, thanks for coming on. Thanks for joining us for the first Zoom with the Steve Davis Show. So, I know Josh has done a lot of work, and both of you's done a lot of work to get this thing up. And thanks for coming on.
Yeah, I'm really glad I could be part of it today. First time I've done the Zoom piece on there, and be in studio most of the time, but obviously that's not, that's tough to do right now. So I'm glad to have I'm glad you had me on.
Well, you've got a great background right there in behind you. You know, you got the university, you got the Highlands up on the left, so that looks very professional.
Yeah, well, yeah, the first time I've used this background. Now, I'm very familiar with Zoom. I mean, that's all, that's all of our meetings are in Zoom right now. So I'm very familiar with it, but I haven't really explored with all the features that Zoom has yet. So this is the first time I've used it. So I'm glad it looks good. I was a little nervous about it.
No, it really does. And again, thanks for coming on. I know this has been a very trying year for your first year. It wasn't something that if we met like back in in April or of the last year, March or whatever it was, and uh, maybe even sooner. I think maybe it was in February. And but this has been a really trying year for I think for everybody. But uh, kind of implement what's really going on with Highlands and what we can expect over the next 6 months. That's a
Yeah,
big question.
yeah. I mean, boy, that thing's loaded,
Yeah.
uh, but
And
no,
I'm not good
it's.
at putting
I
people on
mean,
the spot, but I just put you on the spot right there. So
well, that's I mean that's what people want to know. I mean, our student athletes want to know, our coaches want to know. I mean, everybody is wanting to know. I mean, really that question and the truth has not changed since basically all this has started, but we are a little bit more educated with the process of COVID-19 and how we're trying to um, get our student athletes back on the field, court, track, mat, whatever it might be. We just, you know, I hate to answer like this, but we don't really know. I mean, we're trying to put our best guests forward and put ourselves in a position to be able to compete and have success. But it's really tough to predict that because the landscape changes so quickly and so often, um, that even when you think you got a grip on it, something changes and there's more adversity, and then you got to adapt. So right now at Highlands, we have essentially suspended athletics until January, and that's competition. So they were training in small groups prior to, well, a couple weeks ago, and then everything kind of has shut down. The state's gotten with the health orders that we have in place now, we have shut everything down, and for the most part, some of our student athletes have had even gone back home, kind of taken an early break in the sense of being in Las Vegas, now they're still taking classes online and finishing the semester online, but they just have gone home maybe a little bit early, and we'll finish out there. So, our goal again is to compete in January, and for us to do that, we got to be able to test, the 3 times a week, and it's PCR testing, not antigen testing. And I've learned a lot about all the different types of testing that there is here, in the lot. Well, I mean, since all this has began, really, but that's the challenge, is being able to, follow the orders that are put in place, and that's, it has a lot to do with testing protocol, and that's something that honestly we don't have a lot of control over, because there's so many tests that are going, that are out there, and we don't want to take from the community, and we want to make sure we're keeping the community safe as well. So that's another big priority that we have, is doing our part to keep the community safe, and we've done that so far. We've had very, very few cases, and compared to the numbers that we have here on campus. So it's, I guess, if right now there's not a lot going on, but there is, because we're constantly trying to plan and adapt and try to find a way to get our student athletes back playing again.
Well, what's going to happen in January? I mean, kind of your plans in January, and I know I think everybody gets it. This can change tomorrow. I mean, the governor's coming on tomorrow and speaking, and I'm sure your eyes are listening very closely to what she has to say with the situation right now.
Yeah, and well, so the plan in January is we were supposed to play on January 1st and 2nd, play basketball on January 1st and 2nd. We did move those games to the 4th and 5th, and so it gives us a little bit more time, because technically we would be starting team practice, right after Christmas. The 28th would be the first day that we'd be allowed to do that, and so that doesn't give our athletes much time to prepare, or coaches much time to prepare for a season. And that's the other challenge in this, is we're not able to prepare like we normally do, which is that I guess I say that physically or mentally. We know that there's going to be a lot of changes, a lot of things are going to be different, but it's going to be tough to prepare for that. So right now, January 4th is our goal to compete, and we're going to do everything we can to try to do that. We have we canceled indoor track season, so that's not I guess a concern right now, and trying to get them prepared. So that does help in a sense. It doesn't help us when it comes to being happy about it, I guess. You never want to take away a season from anybody, but our goal is to get them out, and outdoor. They're all basically, all those who compete indoors are going to be outdoors, so they'll still have an opportunity to compete this year. So that's good. So wrestling would be in that same boat. They would start their season back up during that time, and we're doing everything we can to make sure that we can test, that we can follow the state orders, that we can follow the RMAC guidelines, the NCAA guidelines. That's our focus right now. So we spend a lot of time doing that, and hopefully that works out. And then we have all the fall sports that will be competing this spring, starting in January. Volleyball starts.
Well, Andrew, let's go to top 10 plays of the week, and then we'll come back and talk a little bit more about what we do have coming up in next year.
You bet.
Ramos, rise and fire. He's fouled.
He used to coach for Del Norte. And
here's Voss all the way with the finish. He'll get the behind the back of the dribble. Tries to go up with the right hand. He changed hands in midair and hot it, sent it away. Wynn doing a really good job denying Chavez. BC hasn't got the ball. Oh, Yeku. Oh. Working against Watson. Oh, look at the spin move.
Ball's loose. DJ Bustos brings it up. Bars Tompkins, alley-oop. How about it? That was redunculous.
Turnover. Cable to the big fella might try to jam on home.
The New Mexico High School Coaches Association, established in 1941, is an organization of New Mexico's best and most professional interscholastic coaches. Coaches across work daily to help our student athletes excel in the classroom, on the field of play, and in our communities. Students that participate in interscholastic activities attain higher grades, higher graduation rates, and higher wages. Responsible for the North-South All-Star Games, statewide Coaches Award Program, and providing multiple professional development opportunities for New Mexico's coaches. Be a great coach by coaching beyond the game.
The world-famous Laguna Burger is beautifully handcrafted. A burger that's created from certified Angus beef, sinfully cooked to juicy perfection, and garnished with New Mexico's Hatch green chili. Tempt your taste buds with mouth-watering fresh ingredients.
Cut!
We're gonna need another Laguna Burger. Try the irresistible, world-famous Laguna Burger. Visit thelagunaburger.com. It's fresh with a kick. Take 32.
Hey, welcome back to the Steve Davis Show. We have Andrew Ewing, the athletic director at New Mexico Highlands University, and we're on the last segment. We're just kind of touching base on the sports that may happen. Let's just put it that way. May happen next year. And then stay positive that they will happen. Okay, so if you could go ahead and talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, and so I covered a little bit of winter sports, and then kind of spring. They like the spring sports lost their season last year. All this happened in March, and we had to tell baseball, softball that their season was complete. They got about 10 games in each, and then outdoor track and field never got they got started. They were actually at indoor nationals when that got canceled. So we don't want them to lose another season. We want to do everything we can to provide another season for them, or provide the season for them. And then we have football and volleyball and soccer who got pushed from the fall to the spring. And so we got to figure out, what we can do to help get them on the field and court. And volleyball starts in January. Their season starts in January. Football is scheduled to start in February. We have New Mexico State on the schedule. February 27th. And we have a few other games that are scheduled. So we're hoping to get those in as well. And then soccer starts more in March and April. So they're actually a little bit more feasible to do. One, they're outdoor, and two, it's later. And so hopefully
you're gonna have a busy spring, huh? Everything goes. I mean, this is gonna be, you're gonna be a juggling act right there with all these things going on at the same time.
Yeah. So we have the crossover seasons, where the fall enters, in the winter they cross over and we're real busy for a couple of weeks, and then the same in the spring when basketball and spring sport kind of cross over. But in this scenario, we there's the potential of all 3 seasons crossing over at the same time, and so the month of March could look very interesting when it comes to the administrative side of it. But that's why we do this. I mean,
that's a good thing, though. That's a good
yeah,
thing. So that's
we want that.
positive.
Yeah, that's a good problem.
A big question, my concern is, how, I mean, this is your first year as you're the athletic director. How do you keep everybody focused and positive, the athletes, because they're competitive, that's the nature. That's why they're going to the University of Mexico Highlands, and kind of, what have you been doing to keep your coaches, because you may be playing next week, you may not be playing, and how do you just keep it positive while all this is happening?
Yeah, it's a great question. We meet weekly as a staff, and something I really have been very intentional about is just being very transparent with them with everything that's going on. Let them know everything that's going on, all the good, the bad, the ugly. I mean, everything. Having them part of the conversation has been important to me, and that keeps them engaged, and it keep they're part of the process that way, and they should be part of the process. And we have to remind ourselves and each other that we need to stay positive through this, and those who break down are the ones that are going to struggle, and we're trying to be successful, and success doesn't happen by accident. You have to be positive and be able to work through the adversity and keep your composure through it, and combat all that. And so they're a big part of that process, and with that, it's they've been able to keep their heads up, and then that trickles down to the student athlete of their messaging and what they're trying to do with our student athletes. And of course, we want to put every effort into our student athletes and their experience, and making sure that we can do everything we can to help their experience while they're here, even though that it's so it's so abnormal that they basically are in their room or in their wherever they live. They go to the weight room, they go to the athletic training room, they go to the gym or wherever it is, and that's all they're able to do. There's really no other life outside of that. And so we just try to accommodate everything we can, that's within reason for our student athletes, and make sure they know that we care for them, because we do. And that's, unfortunately, that's about all we can do right now, but just being able to stay positive and keep our heads up and keep grinding away.
But also, they don't lose any eligibility this year. Is that correct?
Right. So fall and winter, they won't lose any eligibility. And so if we play or not, it doesn't matter in that sense, that there's a waiver that they'll be able to get their season back. So, we could play.
So really, this gives them a lot of time to train and really develop their skills and understand. I know we have a new head football coach, and understand his scheme of things, and you have other coaches too that are brand new too.
Yeah, and that is a positive in this, and that's a good way of looking at it. Is we may or may not play, but we have a chance to get better every day. And we have a new strength conditioning staff. I mean, we have two new great coaches in our weight room, and actually I saw the numbers the other day, just at least from football, and there's a pretty good jump of strength increase with our football student athletes, at least. And I know that everyone's getting better in there, and that's a big piece, is being able to have a good strength conditioning staff that can work with our student athletes in this time, because they can continue to work out in the weight room. We work out at 25% capacity in there, and that's our restriction. So having a chance to get better every day is very important, and that's what the student athlete wants. They want to be able to get better physically, they want to get better mentally, they want to learn you know, how to get better in life and prepare themselves for whatever it is that's in front of them.
Well, Andrew, you know, I tell you, we're going to come back and talk a little bit more about Highlands University and some things that you've been doing outside the box.
Sounds great.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Well, I'm going to the Frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number 1. Cover it with green stuff, 1 scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
At New Mexico Highlands University, you're more than a student, you're family. Whether you're taking courses in Las Vegas, Santa Fe, Rio Rancho, Albuquerque, or Farmington, you'll get that one-on-one attention to inspire you to reach your goals. Let New Mexico Highlands help take your passion and accelerate it into a career and fulfilling life path. Find out why New Mexico Highlands is the right choice for you. Log on to NewMexicoHighlands.com today.
The New Mexico High School Coaches Association, established in 1941, is an organization of New Mexico's best and most professional interscholastic coaches. Coaches across work daily to help our student athletes excel in the classroom, on the field of play, and in our communities. Students that participate in interscholastic activities attain higher grades, higher graduation rates, and higher wages. Responsible for the North-South All-Star Games, statewide Coaches Award Program, and providing multiple professional development opportunities for New Mexico's coaches. Be a great coach by coaching beyond the game.
Hey, welcome back to Steve Davis Show. We have Andrew Ealing, Highlands University Athletic Director, and good stuff, good things to talk about today. I know with all this going on, you've been proactive of still having to raise money, and you came up with some unique things, and you got some unique things going on, man. So kind of give everybody what's going on with the fundraising.
Yeah, so we're you know, actually a week from today is Giving Tuesday for the institution. That's an institution-wide campaign, but athletics will have a piece in that, and so you know that's one day of giving, and you know our goal is you know to raise money that day as much as we can. But I mean, really, if we can raise, you know, 10,000 on that one day, it'd be a fantastic day. I mean, we're talking about one day giving. So, so I know we have some good supporters that have already committed to that day. And then we'll do something similar in March as well, but just trying to, you know, keep our donors, our alumni, our supporters engaged. And it doesn't always have to be by giving, but just keeping them engaged on what's going on. But we you know, raising money is crucial. I mean, it's crucial for any athletic program in the nation. There's not one exception to that rule. And we need to raise money for honestly right now a lot of the unknowns. And that's the toughest part in this is raising money for the unknowns, because it's hard to talk to people about, well, we don't know what exactly we'll need to spend it on, but I know we're going to need to spend it. And you know, really travel is an unknown, because we might have to stay extra nights. You know, you're seeing that across the nation really, but you see it in New Mexico quite a bit with the institutions in New Mexico staying out of state for a long period of time. And you know, so that's one expense. And then any additional testing or any additional protocols that we need to follow because of COVID-19 are going to be additional costs. And so it's very crucial that we raise the funds to be able to provide that experience for our student athletes.
Well, no, going back to that testing, and that's something that wasn't on the underlying budget. It was something that really came out that really a lot of people are really trying to figure out. And I know, and you can enlighten me a little bit, but I do believe it's 3 tests a week, and I mean, then you got how many athletes there, and you start multiplying that out. That's a big number.
Yeah, so yeah, it's 3 tests a week. And for the state of New Mexico, every sport's a little different when it comes to RMAC or NCAA. But for the state of New Mexico, it's 3 tests a week, period. If you're practicing, playing, if you're doing anything team-wise, you're testing 3 times a week. And so that's a lot of additional tests. And we have 318 student athletes. So if they're all practicing as a team, or when they do, there's 900 tests a week that we'd have to come up with if they're all practicing at the same time. Now, fortunately, they don't all practice at the same time, just because how the schedules will, they don't, some of them overlap, and we'll have some heavier periods of testing than others, but it's a lot of testing, and that brings extra costs that, yeah, you're right, you don't really plan for. And, we, at the beginning of the year, the protocol wasn't to test 3 times a week. That has changed. That's increased, just in the last, couple months, actually. So there's unknowns. And then when you need to test on the road, you don't have that partnership like you do locally to help you maybe ease up some of those costs. And so that causes a little bit more funding. We need a little bit more funding for that as well.
Well, I think that's a big issue with everybody right now, is the testing, and the good news is that there is good news that there is a vaccine, and hopefully that, I don't know that it's going to save up to, may not happen until 6 months or 5 months from now, but that's got to be, positive for you and the university and your coaches, and to know that the following year it's going to get better.
Yeah, I mean, that's obviously that's the optimism is that we have a vaccine that is getting good reviews right now, good reports. Positivity rates are good. But in my mind, it's like, okay, well, what's that going to cost too? Because if we're going to require, all of our student athletes to get the vaccine, those are the unknowns.
No, I didn't mean to bring another burden up on you, but I thought, that you just go get a test, because right now, basically it's free. But even it being free, there's still a time. It's not easy to get it done free.
Yeah. Well, you don't know what it's going to be. I mean, that's the thing. That's why we just kind of prepare for the unknowns, and that way we are being proactive. But the assumption is that it's going to be kind of like a flu shot. You're able to go and get the vaccine and get that shot, or whatever it is, however they administrate it, and that gives us a better chance to be able to compete and be immune to COVID-19.
Well, Andrew, I mean, it's so great for you to come on and talk. I haven't talked to you in a while, and I haven't even called you and talked to you on the phone. And it's good to always know that good things are, still happening in the Mexico Highlands, and
there's a few other things too. I mean, I don't really, you get so focused on COVID-19 that you forget about, a lot of the good things that are happening. But, even with everything that's going on, we're doing a pretty big upgrade in Wilson Complex with a new video board, new floor, new bleachers. That's happening right now. If you walk into Wilson right now, there's dust everywhere because they're working on that, which it allowed us to, because we're not playing right now, it kind of allowed us to start working on some of these projects that we're going to be possibly later on. So those are the good things is that, we're making upgrades, we're enhancing our facilities and making in Wilson's sense, a big addition. It'll look completely different when people walk in there after it's complete. We won't have fans, but next year, whenever we're allowed to have fans, it's going to look great.
Well, Andrew, thanks for coming on the Steve Davis Show, and we'll touch base with you in another month, and hopefully good things are happening in the month of January for you.
Great. Thanks, Steve. I appreciate it.